has settled in my heart forever. We met by a river with no crossing. We met at a peak with no pass. You ask if I can endure this trial. I miss them. There is no one left now. I miss them so much. Standing on the other side of Zhayek, I endured even when I could only reach out my hand. Every person who comes into this world has their own talent, so I believe that I was given mine too.
Жалпы мен өнерге өте құмар болдым.
I have always been drawn to the arts. I was also involved in sports, practicing rhythmic gymnastics. At school I joined the choir and enjoyed singing there too. Overall, my childhood was beautiful and happy.
Менің әкем Қаратай Аспенбет ұлы, мамам Камиля Малайқызы.
My father's name was Karatay Aspinbetula and my mother's name was Kamila Malaiqaza.
Германияға дейін аман-есен барып, сол
My father was a war veteran. He made it all the way to Germany, where he stayed for another year before returning home, alive and well.
қайтты аман-есен. Соғыс кезінде мамам
During the war, my mother worked as a secretary for the NKVD.
жұмыс істеді. Сол кезде танысып,
It was time when they met, fell in love and married.
үйленіп,
Later, they moved to Oral for work. Since my father was a party member, we eventually moved to Almaty.
кейін ары қарай жұмысқа.
At that time, I was still a little girl.
Ол кезде мен кішкентай.
After me, my sisters were born. I also had an older brother and two younger brothers.
Әйтеуір семьямыз өте керемет.
All in all, we had a wonderful family.
Папамның дауысы өте.
My father had an incredible voice. Whenever we visited friends, he would always sing.
Дауысы Серкебаев.
His voice reminded me of our great singer, Yermek Serkebaev.
болған.
Кетіп қалды, екеуміз де қалдық.
Everyone else is gone. Now it's just the two of us left. Her father, Karatay, was a wise and exceptionally kind man who quickly became our friend. He was given the role of Karabay. We told him to rehearse and promised he would perform it on tour. He took it literally and threw himself into rehearsals. That funny story continues to entertain me and lingers with me to this day. He was trusting, warm-hearted and full of goodwill. With a father like that, one can easily imagine the kind of daughter she would become. Her mother was equally remarkable, gracious, refined and gentle. From the union of these two extraordinary people, Meruert was born.
Бала кезінде, мектепте оқып жүргенде, жақсы кино көруші едім.
As a child, when I was still in school, I loved watching movies. I would always check the showtimes. Back then, they were printed in the newspapers. Tickets cost just few pennies, 5, 10 or 20, and I would buy them eagerly, watching one film after another. The film studio used to be located at the corner of Tolebi and Kaldayakov streets. That was the first time I went there. I took a photo and soon I received a letter. You are invited to attend an audition.
Хат хат келді.
Please make sure to come prepared. We'd love to see you if you have the inner feeling. When I arrived, there was a huge foyer filled with many young and beautiful women. The event had been featured in the newspapers, and the most stunning girls from all across Kazakhstan had gathered there.
Kızlar jинalды.
We dressed Meruert in her costume. She mounted the horse and rode off. I was completely captivated.
Мне это безумно понравилось.
Strong, pure, with radiant eyes, she was truly remarkable. The film was directed by Sultan Qozhakov and Gulfayrus Ismailova as production designer. Viktor Busurmanov as an assistant director and Ashat Ashrapov as cinematographer. They were all seated in a small room. After a while, I received a call. Out of all the girls, only 5 or 6 made it to the next stage, and I was lucky enough to be one of them.
Сол бүкіл түгел қыздардың ішінде, оның ішінде мен де бармын.
Auditions for Bekejan, Shegen, and Tolegen were also held. That was the first time I met Kuman. At that time, the Artistic Council conducted a very strict review. Shaken Aymanov, Bigalin, Karsakpayev, Sultan Khodjikov, and Rabit Musrepov, all of them were involved in writing the screenplay. The studio director at the time was Kamal Smailov. Why was I chosen for the role? Sultan Khodjikov told the entire Artistic Council, something will come of this girl, no matter what. Moreover, my screen tests went extremely well, and director placed his trust in me.
Айналайын күнім аусың. Қымыз ішсеңші. Жоқ апа, қымызды сарбаздар ішсін.
Сол кездің, сол ғасырдың адамдардың типі болу керек.
It was essential to capture the essence of people of that era.
Соған
Everyone involved in Kyz Zhibek had to align with this vision ethnographically in their appearance, mannerisms, and presence. The director understood this deeply and had studied it thoroughly, which made his work much easier. Meruert was attending a Russian language school, and her Kazakh wasn't very strong when we first began filming. But by the time she started working on the film, she had made remarkable progress, particularly in mastering the language.
тіл жөнінде.
Камера бұл рентген секілді. Камера алдындағы тұрған адамның тек бет бейнесін ғана емес, ол тіпті
The camera is like an X-ray. It captures more than a person's outward appearance.
меніңше
It seems to penetrate the soul, revealing an inner world with almost magical clarity.
осы деп ойлаймын.
I believe Meruert Otekeshova was chosen to play Zhibek precisely because of her innate wisdom, a natural nobility, and upon close inspection, a quiet yet unmistakable intelligence. These are the very qualities that define Zhibek herself.
Өзінде болмаса, оны сіз
Without them, no amount of training at an acting institute could make that portrayal fully convincing or authentic.
беруіңіз мүмкін емес.
Бос қауры болмайық. Мен Жаған байдының жесірімін.
Сіз киноны көріп отырғанда, кейіпкерді көріп отырғанда, сіздің
When you watch a film and observe a character, there are moments that words cannot capture, yet you feel them deeply.
сөз де жете бермейтін, бірақ сіз
That is exactly what Zhibek's character embodies in Kyz Zhibek.
Жібектің бейнесі осы ғой.
In this film, Meruert Otekeshova's eyes are particularly important. The eyes are the mirror of the soul.
Жібектің басынан қаншама оқиғалар өтіп жатыр да.
Zhibek experiences many pivotal moments, such as her first encounter with Tolegen, when her mother pours qymız into a cup for him.
Қымыз құйып береді ғой.
Look closely at her eyes in that scene. They reflect a natural, modest sense of wonder, typical of a Kazakh girl.
Сай, бияз.
All of this is conveyed beautifully and subtly through her gaze.
Таңғалу бар.
She's captivated by Tolegen's outward appearance, but her love reaches far beyond mere looks.
Сыртқы сұлулығына таңғалу.
And what does Tolegen say at that moment?
Жоқ қой. Төлеген не айтып тұр ол жерде?
Шағалбайдың айыбы қандығынға келе алмай қалғаны болса, оған да бір себеп бар шығар. Бірақ мәселе онда емес. Мәселе мынада. Болмашыға өз-өзіміз
Елдік сөзді айтып тұр. Міне осы
These words reflect the spirit of the people and illuminate Zhibek's character, showing her as a real, authentic person.
деңгейін көрсетіп тұр да.
ипподромға бір жарысындай
Meruert trained in horseback riding at the racetrack for about 6 months, and in that time, her instructor turned her into a skilled stunt rider. She would mount the horse, release the reins, and ride at full speed, even though she had never ridden before. Truly, a talented person is talented in everything.
мына жақта машина,
On one side was the camera, and on the other, me, Zhibek.
машина.
The camera had to lead the way, while at the same time, I had to control the horse.
дегенде галоппенен
We filmed this scene 3 or 4 times, and eventually everything fell into place.
бәрі дұрыс болды.
Even now, if you asked me to ride, I could get on a horse without fear, just as Zhibek did.
Жібек сияқты.
The horse, moreover, was of Arabian breed, spirited and unwilling to stand still, and all of this is captured on film.
бәрі көрініп тұр ғой.
жері бір су бір емшектес екі елдің тойдыманы қосылса, ойдыманы ешқайда кетпес қарақтарым. Екі ақ құдай жарасымды егіздің сыңарындай татулық тілеймін екеуіме.
Құман екеуі біртіндеп сол енді махаббат болғаннан кейін өмірде де сол соған таянып
In life, love gradually blossomed between Kuman and Meruert.
ұйымдастырып жүріп
Anwar and I worked hard to bring them closer.
таянттық.
At first, she was hesitant and reluctant, but in the end, we managed to persuade her.
Көндірдік.
Артисты Meruert Otekeshova и Кумангали Тастанбеков так вошли в образы Жибека и Тулегена, что действительно полюбили друг друга.
Құманның тойы
Kuman and Meruert's wedding took place after filming was completed.
бәріміз сол
We all gathered around them, and I served as the tamada, personally leading the ceremony.
бекежан
Like everyone else, I wore my Bekejan costume from the film.
той ол кезде
It turned out to be a truly beautiful wedding.
жақсы.
There was a director's office at the film studio where the cameraman worked, and that's where our wedding ceremony took place. The entire moment felt exactly like being on a film set.
сияқты.
They would say, wait, we'll set up the camera first, then you can sign. That moment has remained vivid in my memory ever since. Hasan Ali Agha, Anwar Moldabekov, my fellow students and all our relatives were present. Everything was done properly.
Sultan Aga Bata.
Sultan Aga gave us his blessing. For Kuman Aga and me, he was like a father. Sultan Qozhakov was a truly remarkable individual.
Panfilovец.
A war veteran and one of the Panfilov soldiers, he belonged to a generation shaped by hardship, people who understood life and history on a much deeper level.
Жақсы түсірген.
Perhaps that is why he was able to create such a powerful film. He came from a deeply artistic family. His brother was a painter, and both his mother and grandmother were involved in the arts.
Ондай режиссер жоқ.
There has never been and perhaps never will be another director like him. At first, the script envisioned Kyz Zhibek as a single film, but Sultan Aga added so much depth and richness that it became a two-part epic. He wanted the people to see their land, their history, and their spirit reflected on screen like never before. When the film was finally released, it sparked a genuine national celebration.
Үлкен мейрам болды.
Ассалаумағалейкум базеке. Алшекті көп сәлем айт сізге.
Kyz Zhibek шыққан кезде марқұм Ануар аға Молдабеков. Сол кісінің бір айтқаны есімде.
When the film Kyz Zhibek was released, I remember Anwar Moldabekov saying in Russian,
Вы остались.
"That's it, Kumachka." He called Kuman Kuma. You've gone down in history. The film had just premiered, yet Anwar Aga already recognized the level that Kuman and Meruert had reached. The film Kyz Zhibek has shaped generations. It embodies the Kazakh character, national spirit, ethnography, folklore, music, oral folk art, customs, and the daily life of the people, all woven together into a seamless whole. That is why the film resonates so deeply with audiences, including the younger ones. It reveals the Kazakhs as an extraordinary people, representatives of a highly developed culture within the context of world civilization. Most strikingly, it brings the national character to life with vivid clarity.
Мінез бар. Ақбозат өзен аржан шығып кетсе, айтылғанымыз еліне бірақ тартады. Жібек алдынан шығып ең қайда десе.
Kyz Zhibek фильм. Ол бүкіл Қазақстанның.
The film Kyz Zhibek found its way to every village and club across Kazakhstan.
Біздің халқымыз, еліміз.
Everyone watched it at least once, especially our grandparents.
Сол бір-ақ рет.
For me, it was a great happiness.
О кезде. Мен үшін ол үлкен бақыт.
Kyz Zhibek became the defining work of Meruert Otekeshova's career, a rare blessing for any actor. Following that landmark film, she appeared in nearly 30 others. Many people are unaware and occasionally ask, did you stop acting in films after that? In fact, we filmed many times. It all depends on distribution.
Көбісі білмейді.
Following Kyz Zhibek, Kuman Aga gave a powerful performance as Ghani Muradbayev,
Біз
vividly conveying his life and character.
байланысты. Ғани Мұратбаев. Вообще Kyz Zhibek'тен кейін Құман аға Ғани Мұратбаевты ойнағанда Ғаниді көрсеткен соның өмір бойы.
I appeared as his wife, even though it was only a small role.
А мен бір
Director Abdullah Qarsakbayev crafted the film with great care and artistry.
ол фильмді өте жақсы түсірді. Просто керемет.
Times have changed and life has moved on.
Басқаша, бәрі басқаша, но бірақ
But this film should always be remembered.
Маған фильмдегі айылын маған жоқ. Тым арық екен. Қасын керіп созып қалған біреу.
режиссер Альпиев. Ол кісі жоқ қазір.
Director Alpiyev has since passed away.
Көзімен
I remember he wondered whether I could embody such a strong and disciplined character and truly bring her to life on screen.
шығара аламы жоқ па деп. Мен білемін.
But as an actress, I knew I could take on any role.
Бірақ енді актер болғаннан кейін
I knew exactly how Bibi Nur should be portrayed.
Бибинур
Kuman played my husband in the film.
ойнады.
Қолыңды жудың ба?
Маны кім әкелді?
Нені?
Кафелді айтам.
Жұмысшыларға айтып ем, әкеп тастады.
Оларды жұмсама деп қанша айттым мен саған?
Сенің қабағың ашылмайды.
Жай айт қойшы.
It was our own children, Zhibek and Farabi, who played our two children in the film.
Папаң қайда? Білмеймін. Чемоданын алды да кетіп қалды.
This film would still captivate audiences in villages today. Decades may pass, but it remains timeless. Films like this no longer exist.
Ондай кино жоқ.
Бибинұрдың машинасы. Өз айдап жүр. Матта әйел. Күйеу үйінен кетіп қалғанына 3 ай болды. Бір сыр бермейді о сабағы. Түк болмағандай жүреді.
In 1983, the film Ötelmegen Paras, Unfulfilled Duty, was released. It was directed by Serік Жармухамбетов with Anwar Молдабеков in the leading role.
Қуанышта қауышпаған соң жегжат болып жайраңдап кете алмаспыз. Көшеден тапқан балаға тегін білудің қажеті қанша? Барыңыздар. Апа, не жап аузыңды?
Осы бір шағын ғана көріністе
Meruert plays Saya's mother.
Ананың бойындағы
In this brief scene, she conveys a whole spectrum of maternal emotions, shifting from anger at her daughter to sorrow,
жаңағы бір жағынан ашу-ыза бар.
resentment, and frustration, all captured in a single performance.
Өкпесі бар.
But another remarkable moment follows.
Артында бір кадр бар. Ануар Молдабековтың кейіпкері кетіп бара жатқан кезде алдында ғана
As Anwar Moldabekov's character departs, the mother, who had earlier spoken stern words, falls silent and simply watches him leave.
Ол тек соңынан қарап тұр. Оқитынымыз
In that gaze, her quiet compassion for the young man's father is revealed.
деген аяушылық сезім.
In just one shot, Meruert Otekeshova communicates an astonishing depth through her silence. This is what cinema is all about.
Осы ғой.
Алыстағы орыс қаласына жібермей-ақ ол баланы осында оқытуға болатын еді ғой. Шоқан жан осында жүріп ақ шығыстың үш тілін білді емес пе?
In my film Shokan Walikhanov, Meruert played Shokan's mother.
Талантыменен ананы ойнау Kyz Zhibek'ten кейін біртіндеп солай көшеді ғой доктор жасына қарай.
Following her work in Kyz Zhibek, she brought the character of a noble Kazakh woman to life with remarkable care and precision, and we are truly grateful for that.
Жақсы қазақтың әйелдің кейіпкерін жасады.
She always understood exactly what was expected of her. An actor must fully grasp the director's vision completely. And then, of course, one must work twice as hard. When a person carries humanity and purity in their heart, the stage and the role itself shine with that same purity.
Сахнада таза болады.
Meruert is exactly such a person, incapable of wishing harm to anyone.
Жаманшылық жоқ.
In the world of cinema, our teacher was Sultan Qo'ziqov, and at the theatre faculty of the Kurmangazi Kazakh National Conservatory, it was Khadisha Apay, a people's artist.
Құрманғазы атындағы консерватория бар ғой, қазір консерватория, жалпы институт. Сонда факультет ашылған, театральный.
Kumanaga studied there first and graduated, and I enrolled only after the filming was completed.
Ол бітірді. Сосын мен съемка біткеннен кейін мен түстім.
But I was not admitted simply because I had acted in Kyz Zhibek.
Ойнады деп бұлай мені қабылдаған жоқ.
I prepared like any other applicant, took the entrance exams like everyone else, and received no special treatment.
Мен экзамен тапсырдым.
During my studies, no one assumed that appearing in a major film entitled me to any privileges or exemptions.
Оған бәрін рұқсат.
Some would say, oh, you'll get in anyway. But no one should think that way. Later, when I came to join the theatre after graduating, the chief director, Azerbaijan Mambetov, did not accept me simply because of my film work either. I had to go through the competition and receive approval from the Artistic Council, just like everyone else.
Театрға худсоветтен өттім.
After I had completed my studies and was already working at the theater, Meruert joined the troupe, and from then on, everyone called her Kyz Zhibek. At first, she took on small roles and appeared in crowd scenes, just as I once had. But before long, she was entrusted with the role of Kara Köz. Azerbaijan Manbetov organized a major casting competition for the part. During the preparation period, Khadisha Bokeva personally took part in the rehearsals. She demonstrated everything herself: how to bow, how to walk and stand, and how to carry oneself on stage. Every rehearsal was conducted under her direct guidance.
Вот стою перед тобой, говорю всю правду, все, что у меня на душе. Ты спросил меня, и я не могу перед тобой таиться.
Meruert Otekeshova performed the role of Kara Köz, while Kuman Agha played Narsha. Sırım and Anwar Boranbayev were also part of the production. During their tour to Moscow, this remarkable ensemble impressed local theater critics with their artistic depth and distinctive acting style. In particular, Meruert Otekesova's performance received exceptional praise. Her profound and thoughtful interpretation revealed the full psychological complexity of Kara Köz, the heroine created by Mukhtar Awezov. Rahila Mashurova once told me that the Moscow audience kept asking, "Where did you find this Scheherazade?" Everyone was captivated by her beauty. She is extraordinarily talented, and her entire inner world is reflected in her eyes. If our theatre had been staging Ostrovsky or Chekhov at the time, Meruert Otekeshova might well have reached the level of Vertinskaya or Yelena Bystritskaya. She possesses immense natural talent, a rich inner world, subtle psychological depth, and the rare ability to move effortlessly between emotional states. Perhaps the repertoire of the time did not allow for it, but there is no doubt that she could have brought the Russian and Western classics to life, for she had extraordinary strength and a commanding stage presence. I remember how Shulpan Jandarbekova once spoke of Meruert with genuine admiration. She was enchanted by her beauty, in even the smallest details, and would praise the delicate shape of her nose, remarking on how remarkably graceful it was. What brought Kuman and me happiness? We were fortunate to begin our careers at the Mukhtar Awezov Kazakh National Drama Theatre, surrounded by some of the finest and most unforgettable actors. Adaras Noghaybayev, Farida Sharipova, Sabira Maikanova, Khadisha Bokeva, Shulpan Jandarbekova, and Biken Rimova. They were remarkable partners with whom we shared the stage. By that time, Farida Sharipova, Asanali Ashimov, Anwar Moldabekov, Adaras Noghaybayev, and Kenyanbay Khojabekov were already celebrated artists. Later, I had the privilege of performing alongside them on the stage of our Kazakh National Drama Theatre. In the play Ana Jer Ana, Farida Sharipova and Sabira Maikanova portrayed Tolghanay, while I played Aliman. Standing alongside these extraordinary artists, I first stepped onto the stage and truly began my creative journey. I knew them well. Now, sadly, they are all gone. I miss them deeply. Meruert never argued with Kuman, nor did she ever speak to him harshly. You know what men of that time were like, constantly away, off on film shoots and long theatre tours, yet she never made a scene, never revealed her worries, and never complained. She stayed at home, caring for the elders, raising the children, and managing the household, a true embodiment of Kyz Zhibek. Kuman was an extraordinarily talented person. The way he performed on stage, especially his role as Shokan Walikhanov, was remarkable. In fact, all of his theatrical roles were simply outstanding.
Адамның сөзіне ісі сай болу керек, Биби. Тым өзгеріп кеттің.
Солай ма?
Иә. Бұрын мұндай қатыгез, қайырымсыз емес едің.
Meruert's on-screen presence reflects her real-life character.
Қаққан қазықтай болып тұрады. Ол өз өмірде солай. Өмірде
Beneath her warm and caring heart lies remarkable discipline and a strong sense of responsibility.
жайраңдап жүрмейді никогда. Қатты жинақы жүреді.
She carries herself with poise and purpose, often wearing a serious expression.
Жүреді,
Among friends, she's radiant and approachable, yet to strangers, her calm gaze can give the impression of sternness.
мінезі Меруерттің өзі. Көп рахмет айтамын. Әсіресе менің
I am especially grateful to my parents-in-law, who were always there for me.
тұрды ғой менімен. Үлкен кісілер.
They came from the village to the city to help care for our son.
Сол енем атам
Kuman and I were constantly on the move, touring, filming and performing at the theatre from morning until night, and without their support, it would have been incredibly difficult.
солар болмаса
Their help meant the world to us.
көп көмек берді.
Kuman and I were avid collectors of books, and our home boasted an extensive library.
Үйде.
Kuman read constantly. Zhibek shared the same love of reading, and our son did as well.
Ұлым да сондай.
Even now, our youngest daughter has inherited this passion for books.
жақсы көреді. Құман ағамыздың соңғы ойнаған театрда
Kuman Agha's final stage role was in the play Jirek, Jirek Aurtpai. Let's not cause the heart any pain.
деді.
Though he was ill, he refused to stay home despite my pleas.
Драма.
For 2 hours, he delivered a powerful performance to a full house at the Mukhtar Awaz of Kazakh National Drama Theatre.
ойнады. Ойнап шықты.
Уақыт қалай өтеді, а? Я мырзеке, уақыт өтеді. Жастар ер жетеді. Біздер қартаямыз.
Соңғы біздің барған, біздің барған
The last time Kuman and I traveled together was to Los Angeles with a creative delegation from the university. At that time, Kuman Agha was unwell, and journey was long, about 18 hours one way by plane.
мен оған айттым, Құман айналайын. Саған баруға
I told him, darling, you shouldn't go. Let's not go there.
болмайын.
I said, if you don't go, I won't go either. The people of art, actors, dream of visiting Hollywood.
Енді Голливуд, актер.
He said, no, we're going.
Мен не істеймін?
Well, what could I do?
Бардық.
That was our last trip together.
Барымыз. Айман Қожабековна
Ayman Musa Khodjaeva invited Kuman and me to Astana to teach students.
біз Алматыда болдық қой.
At the time, we were living in Almaty, and I had been teaching at the Temirbek Jurgenov Academy of Arts for several years.
осы Астанаға келген.
I was very happy to come to Astana, and I continue to work here to this day. I love working with young people. I understand them, and I can often tell what they're thinking just by looking into their eyes.
ойларын.
Studying under Meruert Otekeshova and learning from her is a profound honor for any student. A teacher imparts not only knowledge but also character. manners, and essential human qualities. We hope that your exceptional virtues and your remarkable journey in the world of art will inspire and be passed on to your students. May they too become as outstanding and beloved by the Kazakh people as you are. Thank you. In our acting class, girls far outnumbered boys. Meruert Otekeshova selected 18 girls and just 6 young men. Her teaching went far beyond technique. She showed us how to truly live on stage, to feel deeply, and to bring forth our innermost self and soul. We faced many challenges along the way, but today they performed beautifully. They presented their plays with skill, and both parents and audiences were delighted. The dramaturgy is demanding, and it's not easy for the children. So why did we choose this particular play? Because the group includes many girls, around 15, 16, and this piece suits them best. As a teacher, I believe it's important for children to understand and remember history. While comedies are popular nowadays, the path in the arts is never easy. Despite the challenges, I am confident that these students are now capable of performing in any theater across Kazakhstan and bringing their roles to life, and I truly believe they will succeed. All my students are wonderful. I continue to keep in touch with my very first graduates. We gather on my birthday, on International Women's Day, and they invite me to their own celebrations as well. Whenever I can, I make sure to be there. Kuman Agha has been gone for several years, yet we still talk to each other. I talked to him about everything. His heart was failing, and that is what took him in December. Creative, devoted to the arts, a remarkable actor, that was Kuman. I always say he was at the peak of his career, and yet his heart gave out. He had undergone a serious surgery, but even then he couldn't stay home. Festivals, meetings, theater, it didn't matter. He would always say, "I'll be performing." He even decided to go to Hollywood. That same year, Khadisha Apai celebrated her centenary in Oral, in Kastalovka. No one else could attend. Only Kuman and I went. When I asked him, "Kuman, how can you go?" he simply replied, "She is our teacher. How could we not go?" The love we witnessed on screen blossomed into true and enduring love off screen as well. To me, Kuman Agha and Meruert Otekeshova were always the very embodiment of marital harmony. In life and in art, they were a perfect couple. They represented the ideal of family and partnership. Kuman Agha cared for and protected Meruert Otekeshova devotedly until the very end of his life. After Kuman's passing, she endured a profoundly difficult period, carrying her sorrow quietly within. She couldn't openly weep or express her grief in the customary Kazakh way. She was deeply private and reserved. In 2025, by the decision of the Maslikhat of the West Kazakhstan region and with the support and initiative of the people, Meruert Otekeshova was awarded the title of Honorary Citizen of the West Kazakhstan region. At that moment, we saw her cry and our hearts ached with sorrow.
Мен қай жерде жүрсем де өзім қуанам. осындай халқым бар, елім бар.
Meruert Otekeshova, who hadn't shed tears in 5 or 6 years, could no longer hold them back as the people lifted her up, surrounding her with overwhelming love and admiration. Meruert's golden role, forever immortalized in history and treasured in the hearts of the people, is her unforgettable portrayal of Zhibek. I am deeply grateful to the people and to my country. The respect and love they show me mean more than words can express.
Соған мен ризамын.